Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Wednesday's Reading the Red, chapter 11, and this is the last verse in chapter 11, and we're on verse 30. Jesus yesterday said regarding giving our souls rest, and in 30 he says, "For my yoke is easy and my burden is light." So you have to ask, what is a soul that is at rest? What is it to have that part of you inside that is living in rest? And rest really is a place of, it conjures up a place of peace, a sense of well-being, value, all the good things, all the good emotions that we would recognise as being, that's what we want. Rest, a bit like a summer holiday, just resting on the beach, sun beating down. That sense of rest. And your soul being at rest. And the soul, I've said, is your mind, your emotions and your will. Imagine having your mind peaceful, restful, and your emotions just restful, like contentment. And then your will just kind of in agreement with yourself and with God and everyone around you. And it's all just tranquil, that sense of rest. Even the word rest conveys a sense of, let's just breathe out that sense of, that's okay. And it actually is tied up in that last breath that's there in us when we rest. Because it's the breath in us, breathed out of us, that brings that sigh of surrender. Rest. And Jesus is saying, only as we come to a place where we rest, where we're in effect, we breathe that breath of surrender, where we cooperate and work with God rather than work against God. And when he goes on in 30 and says, "For my yoke is easy," that word means, easy means comfortable, a sense of it's okay, it's all right. It's not pressured, it's rest. My yoke is easy. And walking with Jesus, if you've walked with Jesus 5 minutes, you'll realise that there's a sense in which this don't seem so easy, Jesus. This seems really hard. I'm finding myself all the time struggling with, don't do this, don't do that, can't say this, can't say that, can't think this, can't think that. And there's this sense of all these things hitting us, and we've got to respond differently, and it's hard, and it is hard. But when you take your breath of rest and you learn to surrender and you sigh and say, okay, Lord, I'm going to give up and let you have your way, then it becomes easy because we're no longer the ones doing it. And this is, my yoke is easy and my burden is light. Have you ever carried a light thing? It's impossible. You can't. If his burden is light, then it's light. And when you learn to surrender all your best efforts to do the Christian life, and you learn to sigh the sigh of surrender, breathe it out and say, God, have your way in my life. I give it to you. When we do that, all of a sudden the responsibility of doing whatever needs to be done in that moment comes off of your shoulders and comes, as it were, into the arms of God. And it's like God then carries us, just like the Footprints poem, God carries us through those difficult times. Brothers and sisters, today, enter into the joy of his rest in your souls. Have a great Wednesday.